Hello students. Yesterday we have learned the important topics regarding to the chapter dual nature of radiation and matter, and there we have discussed the Einstein's photoelectric equation, and even we have seen that why the wave theory has failed to explain successfully the concept of or laws of photoelectric emission, and why we needed a new types of physics to interpret that particular photoelectric emission, and after that what is the result that we have obtained. So in that case we have seen that first of all Leonard and Holwas they made experiment on that, and with the based on their experiment they have given some number of laws of photoelectric emissions, and with the help of that laws latter wave theory with the help of wave theory scientists has tried to solve or explain that laws, but it was totally failed. So after that, even that time Planck has given his idea already, so Einstein used his idea to interpret the laws of photoelectric emission, and even he successfully explained this. So we have seen already that how he has explained that thing, and I think that is clear to you. And next thing is that after that nature that is established for the electromagnetic radiation, that is particle nature. So we have now two types of nature. First is particle nature and raised wave nature. So some of the properties of electromagnetic waves that can be explained with the help of particle nature, and some of the properties can be explained on the basis of wave theory, and some of the properties can be explained with the help of both of the concepts. So here in this very simple, these two concepts of the electromagnetic wave, that is not contradictory to each other, they are even complementary to each other, they complete each other. Means if we want to study all the properties of electromagnetic wave, then definitely we need to do both types of characteristics of it, and the characteristic that is fit somewhere, then obviously we will use that. Here one more thing is there. In the complementary thing, it is necessary to understand that if suppose that with some experiments we are performing the experiments means we are using actually the wave concept of the electromagnetic wave, then with that instrument we cannot do the experiments of the concepts that are explained by the particle concepts. So simple, you can say that there is uncertainty in the wave concept and particle concepts if we are studying later. I will discuss that also while I will discuss the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, then that time I will discuss it. But still you have to know that we cannot measure the particle nature of the radiation with the help of that instrument through which we can measure or we can understand, we can explain the wave phenomena of the radiation. So it's reverse also possible, true. Means if with some experiment we are explaining particle or wave particle concept, then we cannot explain the wave concept from it. Reason you can understand very easily. Actually reason is that particle concept is arise whenever position and position factor we are taking, means we are taking a particle concept, rest concept of the electromagnetic wave. So whenever it falls on the metallic surface, then that time we are taking its position concept. So that time it is behaving like the particle. But if that particle is in motion, then due to, you know that due to its motion and already there are oscillating electric and magnetic field, so it constitutes a wave, and due to construction of wave it is possessing wave nature while it is in motion. And with the help of Heisenberg principle we know that if we are calculating or measuring particle concept and wave concept, it means that position and velocity, both things we are doing, we are measuring at the same time with the same experiment, then definitely there will be some error in that instrument, in that experiment. So this is called the uncertainty principle, means there will be some uncertainty. So we need always to different types of instruments to understand all the phenomena of radiation. So I think that factor is clear to you. Later I will discuss again when I will discuss the Hagen-Berger-Sentiety principle. So I think the concept it is clear. And now with the help of Planck's idea, even Einstein used in and established, you can say that actually Planck has given his idea, but that time people was not accepting it. But later when Einstein used it to solve or to explain his photoelectric emission law, then that after that time this law is accepted because the wave theory was failed to explain it, and particle theory was successful to explain that. So after that particle concept has been taken. It means that the concept is taken that electromagnetic waves are made up of the photons, and each photon has energy equal to h nu, clear? Where h is Planck constant and nu is frequency of radiation. So if a word we have seen here, that is photons. So what is photon and what are the properties of photon? This question is also very important. So basic thing, the properties of photons that are important. So first of all, if you want to know what is photon, so photons are categorized in the family of bosons, and we have even discussed that while we were discussing the chapter. That time I have told you already what is the what types of statistics we have, like Fermi-Dirac statistics, the particles that are obeying that are known as Fermions, Bose-Einstein condensation or statistics, the particles that are obeying them, that they are known as bosons. And in boson family, the spin of the particles are either zero or they have half integral, either zero or integral spin, not half integral. And the fermions are that category whose spins are integral multiple of half of the spin, clear? So here the factor is that the photons are lying in the category of bosons whose spin is the zero or integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, clear? So now the factor that is the photons, already you have known that in this class it is lying, and which types of condensation it is, or statistics it is following. Secondly is that if we are talking about the conservation law, like or calculation of photons, like we can calculate what are the number of protons or electrons in any atom, but can we calculate the number of photons in electromagnetic waves? So it is not possible to calculate. So we don't know how many number of photons are in the light wave. Only we are just studying that what is the intensity of the radiation, means with the help of the emission of electrons that is taking place from the matters. But we cannot calculate in any from any system how many numbers of photons and whether they will conserved or not. So they are not conserved in the system. So these are the actually basics law that about the photons. So most of all that photons are the particles whose mass is you can say that their rest mass is zero. So it means that photons are never at rest, they are always in motion. So we don't see ever that light is stopped somewhere. So as if suppose that photon will some rest mass, then in that case obviously light will stop. Whenever we will use torch, then light will emerge from it, and after some time it will stop before reaching to anywhere. But we are not seeing that case. So simplest thing, photons are always in motion, their rest mass energy that is totally zero, clear? Secondary factor that the photons have, that photons are traveling with the velocity of light, you know already, means the velocity of light or their velocity is equal to the velocity of light. Third factor, photons shows scattering, or they are showing diffraction process, and also there are actually whatever the properties of electromagnetic wave that is all possessing by the photons easily. So you can understand the properties of photon with the properties of electromagnetic waves easily. So these are the basic things for the photons that is needed. What is its energy, what is its mass, what is its raised mass, and which types of property it is showing, whether the number of photons are conserved or not. So we have discussed that. So later we have to discuss the concept that is the dual nature of matter. The chapter is that dual nature of radiation and matter. We have discussed the dual nature of radiation here. So let's discuss what is dual nature of matter. So in case of dual nature of matter, it means that we are talking about the material particles here. So for the material particles like electron, proton, neutrons are there, and obviously they are particle type. They are particles. So here already particle behavior is established. In wave, first of all, in electromagnetic radiation, first of all, wave theory, wave nature was established. After that, particle concept established here. And here we have already particle characteristics, and later de Broglie told us that whenever a material particle that is in motion, then due to its motion a wave is associated with it always. Obviously we know that whenever particles are oscillating, and we already know that every material particles have some spin, means they are just rotating about, they are oscillating about their own axis. It means obviously due to their oscillation, whenever they will be in motion, they will constitute a wave. So if the wave is associated with them, it means that matter particles are also possessing wave property. So this is the dual characteristics of the matter, that matter also possessing property of particles and waves both. So this concept was given by the de Broglie, and even with the help of this concept, we later able to understand the spectroscopic phenomena and so many phenomena whenever particles or material particles are in motion. So we have understood that clearly with the help of the concept of dual nature of matter. So with the help of here, suppose that it is given that whenever, obviously you know that if wave is constituted, then some of the wavelength it will have. So what is the wavelength of that wave? How can we calculate it? We can easily derive it. So for that, we know that whenever the particle that is making transition, then an energy is equal to S nu, that is emitted from here. If whenever an electron is making transition from higher to lower state, and in that case this is energy rated here, or in other words we can write it Ht upon lambda. Clear? Or suppose that here we are talking about the material particles, so you can take the velocity v, because material particles velocity are much less than the velocity of light here. Secondary thing is there, here we have equation with the help of Einstein's mass energy equivalence, then it is equal to mv square or m square if we are talking for the radiation, or we can take also velocity v. So now let's solve with this formula here. So just simply equate it. This is equal to mv square. After solving it, we will get lambda is equal to s upon mv. So this is the formula for the calculation of wavelength that is associated with or wavelength of the wave that is associated with any material particle, that is the moving with the speed v. M is the mass of the particle and s is Planck constant here. So this concept is, I think, clear to you. Whenever we are here taking the wave concept also, and we have just derived this formula with the help of wave concept and particle concept both here. So with the help of that we can derive a formula, and it is derived by the Broglie. So and with the help of it we can calculate easily what is the wavelength of the wave that is associated with any material particle. So the next thing that we have to study here, that is what are the forms of the de Broglie wave equations, and with the help of the how can we calculate wavelength in if there are a number of terms are given. Here we can directly calculate the wavelength associated with that material particle with the help of this formula. We can also derive this formula in so many ways. Like suppose that we already know that the momentum of particle that is given by P is equal to mv. Whenever here we are talking about the motion of the material particle, then definitely there will be some momentum of the with that particle is within motion. So obviously that is equal to P is equal to mv. So we can write here lambda is equal to h upon P in this equation. This is also a form of de Broglie wave equation. Second thing is that we all know that here the kinetic energy that is given by half mv square. So with the help of here we can solve what is the value of mv or you can also write here, suppose we are just multiplying it by m and dividing by here. So we will obtain m square v square, its value will be equal to 2m k, clear? Or m into v, its value will be root 2m k. So if you put this value here, then we can obtain and the formula for wavelength that is equal to h upon root 2m k. So this is the relation between the wavelength of the wave that is associated with material particle and kinetic energy of that particle. So with the help of this, you can even plot the graph for this. Graphical questions are also very important. So you can plot a graph for it. Obviously graph will be somewhat parabolic, and with the help of that and decreasing also, with increase in kinetic energy there will be decrease in wavelength. So graph will be what like something this, clear? So such types of graphs you have to study that also here, and we can also study this graph. For this graph we can study here. For suppose that here we have to plot a graph between lambda and v with for the constant, obviously mass of the particle that is constant here, so it is inversely proportional to this. So for that you can plot a graph for it. You can plot a graph between lambda and p and lambda and root k or k. You can plot the graph, clear? Next concept, that is with the help of photoelectric effect or sun, we have already known that the kinetic energy that is equal to EV0. If somewhere the potential is applied, then due to that potential, the kinetic energy of the particle gets kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy equal to this. So obviously whenever material particles are charged particles, then that charged particle will get some of the kinetic energy due to the application of any external potential source, and that will be equal to this. So in that case we can write in place of here lambda, that will be equal to h upon root 2m EV0. So these are the relationship for the different quantity. Even you can also derive it. Suppose that if somewhere temperature is changing, then with change in temperature, whether the material particles wavelength that will change or not, you can see that also. So as we know that from the kinetic theory or kinetic model, that is kinetic energy that is equal to P by 2 kT, where K is Boltzmann constant, T is temperature, and here this is kinetic energy. So we can put this formula here, and with the help of that we will obtain h upon 2m. In place of K, let's write 3 by 2 kT. So it will be finally equal to h upon under root 3m kT. So this is also a formula for the de Broglie wavelength, and even actually these are the formulas that helps us to calculate de Broglie wavelength easily if the sum of any condition is given here. So we can calculate it easily, we can solve numericals on it easily. We can understand on which factors it is depending on. So from here you can see that the wavelength of the material particle that is dependent on so many factors. Obviously when it is in motion, then its velocity that can change its wavelength, its kinetic energy that can change its wavelength, its momentum that can change its wavelength, its the potential or additional energy that we are supplying to it that can change its wavelength, and also the temperature that is also just like the additional energy. If it is changing, then that can change its wavelength. Clear? So these are the concepts and these are the things that can change de Broglie wavelength easily or wavelength of material particles easily. So I think the concepts and what are the de Broglie hypothesis, that is all clear to you. There is no confusion while understanding the dual nature of matter, because with the help of dual nature of matter, if they like just like in case of radiation we have solved all the phenomena that is possessing by it. For matter we have also solved all the phenomena that are possessing by the matter particles, because it was also a task for us to understand the properties that is possessing by the material particle whenever they are in motion. So that is easily solved when the de Broglie gave the idea of dual nature for the matter also. Clear? So the next concept that is most important, you can say that is how can you derive the Bose postulate with the help of de Broglie concept. This question is very important. Actually, de Broglie has suggested idea also for the atomic or electrons that are revolving around the nucleus, and for that even Bose postulate you can derive it with easily with the help of de Broglie concept. So de Broglie actually idea was that the electrons that are revolving in any circular orbits that are forming standing waves, and for that standing waves means the distance traveled by that standing wave in one complete rotation, that is integral multiple of lambda. Means electrons will revolve only in that orbits for that if they are completing one rotation, then or the matter waves. Actually de Broglie concept was related to matter waves, so he has told us that that matter waves, the total distance covered in one complete revolution, that is equal to integral multiple of the wavelength associated with that particle, or obviously wavelength of that standing wave. So with that we can write here, suppose that here a stationary orbit is we have, and electron now started to move like that, and due to that it obviously it will move and it will form the wave like character, because we know that whenever electrons is in motion, then that electron will whenever it will be in motion, then a wave that will be associated with it, and obviously a wave when it is associated and it is in boundary, then we know that this will form a stationary wave, and for that stationary wave it is conditioned that this electron will revolve only in that orbits for this one complete revolution made by this stationary orbit. So here suppose r is the radius of this orbit, then what is the complete revolution? This is equal to the circumference of it. So this will be equal to 2 pi r. So this will be equal to integral multiple of the wavelength of this wave. So if this condition will be followed by the electrons in that orbit, then definitely electron will revolve only in that orbit. So this condition was also given by the de Broglie. So this is the just different concept, but we can prove the Bohr postulate with the help of it easily. So we know that as lambda is equal to h upon mv. So just put its value here. So we can obtain 2 pi r, its value is equal to nh upon mv. Correct? more way, then we can obtain here 2 pi mp into r. This is equal to, just multiply this here. Here we can obtain n into h, or you can write mpr. This is equal to nh upon 2 pi. And this equation that we have obtained with the help of de Broglie concept, that is the Bohr postulate, Bohr's second postulate, we know that. And this is Bohr's second postulate. You know that electrons are revolving only in those orbits for which its angular momentum is equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So this condition is satisfying here. It means that the de Broglie concept for the permissible orbits, that was also correct, and even with the help of this formula, or with the help of Bohr's postulate, we can derive de Broglie concept, and with the help of de Broglie concept we can derive Bohr's postulate. So this question is very important, and both of the way it can be asked to you. Then if suppose that the question is that derive the formula for the de Broglie concept for the permissible orbit with the help of Bohr's postulate. So in the reverse order you have to do the work. And if it is asking that derive the formula for the, or derive the concept of postulates of Bohr model with the help of de Broglie concept for the permissible orbit, then you can derive it in this way. So I think that section is also clear. And later de Broglie actually suggested also the position and other factors for the wave, and for that he has told us that at any time the position of the wave, that is uncertain, and means because wave is propagating just like the wave packet, and electron can exist, electron can lie within that wave packet anywhere. So like if it is just making the standing wave, then in that standing wave you can see that here an envelope is formed, and electron can exist within that envelope anywhere. So with the help of this concept, Heisenberg proposed a concept of the uncertainty principle, because if electrons are the certainty of electrons of the existence is not certain, so definitely if we are just calculating, suppose at any position we are seeing that here electrons are, but if it is in motion, then obviously its position that will be uncertain, because in the whole of the packet it can be anywhere. So simple, with the help of that concept, the uncertainty principle is given by the Heisenberg. That was, it is impossible to measure with highest accuracy at the single time the position and velocity of the electron, because of if you are seeing that particle is in motion, then obviously it is very hard to predict in the packet where is our particle, and if we are just seeing the position of the particle, then it is really hard to tell what is the velocity of the particle at that time. So at the single time we cannot predict what is, or we cannot calculate exactly or with high accuracy or the position and velocity both of the single position or momentum. Means in other way, if you are seeing that here we are talking about the particle concept and wave concept. Particle concept means we are talking about the position, wave concept means we are talking about the motion. So its single meaning is that whenever we are measuring then particle nature, then that time we cannot measure with high accuracy the wave concept, or the reverse process is also true. So here the thing is that there is always uncertainty if we are measuring the both of the theory, both of the concept of the particle or radiation at a single time. So we cannot measure it with high accuracy. There will be always some error, some uncertainty in that measurement. Either that can be in the position, or that can be in the velocity or momentum of that material, particle or radiation. So we always have to measure one thing at the single time, and this is the, you can say that the application or use of the de Broglie concept. With the help of that we know the uncertainty principle, we can now measure, we cannot study with high accuracy all the things, because we already know that we cannot study both of the things simultaneously. So we don't we will study that simultaneously, we always study it differently, so due to reason of the Heisenberg principle. So I think the concept that I was telling you in starting, that the wave concept and particle concept, that both are uncertain. It means that at a single time we cannot measure them with high accuracy. If you will try to measure them, definitely there will be uncertainty in one of the portion, or whether it can be in position, and it can be or a particle, you can say that, or it can be in the wave concept. So students, I think whatever we have discussed today, that is totally clear to you. And what are the importance of this concept, dual nature concept in life, that is also I have tried to discuss that. I have tried to make you understand that. I think that is totally clear to you. So let's end the chapter here. Also dual nature of radiation and matter. Here one more things we will discuss in next part, that is the concept of photocells. After that we will discuss the wave optics. So today let's end the class here. Rest of the things we will discuss in next class.